All right, welcome to the Rokani Media Football and Arsenal's Ollie Watkins second bid incoming. Arsenal look like they are not convinced with the excuses that Aston Villa is obviously giving him onto Ollie Watkins, and they're like, you rejected the first bid, the second bid is obviously going to be coming in through, and we are also going to be adding on a story of a player called Nwaneri for what he went ahead obviously showcase yesterday in Spain and what it has gone ahead obviously cause to him as a player. The effects are really positive and Mikel Arteta is really impressed. Smash the like button, comment and share if you're totally watching us for the very first time. Endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. And Muno Gadgets is the place to be. Continue to go ahead and obviously buy your smartphones and brand new phones, brand new smartphones and brand new laptops. Even if you want a used laptop and a used smartphone from the United Kingdom, call them on +256 70 99 88 665 and you will thank me later for that activity. Then even if you need what we call affordable smartwatches, call them on that number and you will obviously never regret, and you obviously come here to thank me that Rokani, you gave me the deal of the year of 2025. Continue to subscribe because we want to hit 25,000 subscribers, and I know we are obviously going to be hitting that mark into the mix. Now, John Crossmirror came up and obviously told us the following, that Arsenal have had a 60 million pound bid for Ollie Watkins turned down by Aston Villa, but are ready to make a fresh bid offer before Monday's transfer deadline. Arsenal are keen on Benjamin Sesko and he remains their long-term target for the summer. So that's what we've gone ahead to get in from John Crossmirror, and he's telling us that Arsenal are forecast to sit is obviously getting this player imminently before Monday deadline. Remember, the transfer window closes on Monday because they're supposed to it was supposed to be ending at 31st. It was supposed to be ending on 31st, but I don't know why they went ahead obviously extend those other days to see to it that all goes on well as planned. And looks like this time around that of Saudi Pro League is closing tomorrow, that is on 31st, and that of the Premier League is like we are closing on the 3rd of February, and that means that is what the window is all going to be all about. Arsenal went ahead to get their bid rejected for Ollie Watkins yesterday, and they went ahead to put in a very beautiful shift, you know. So, as it stands, they are planning for a second bid, you know, and a second bid, we don't know how worth it's really going to be, but it looks like they're planning for a bid that cannot be rejected, you know. Undeniable bid. I think that's what Arsenal are really planning to obviously put in for Ollie Watkins. But their intent is that they are going in for a second striker. But there is a narrative that Arsenal might obviously paint, because if Arsenal needed a forward, they had known that the forward that could leave Aston Villa was going to be John Duran, not so? So, if it's going to be John Duran, what do? If you tell John Duran that Arsenal's gonna hit to come in for you and Al Nassr is in for you, what team do you think he will give first priority? I think the first team that he gives first priority is Arsenal. Why did Arsenal hijack the deal of John Duran? Because yesterday, that's when everything happened and the medical has been scheduled to see to it that all goes on well. And even if they want to hijack it now, they can hijack it now because documents have not gone ahead obviously be signed. But Arsenal might have gone ahead obviously make this bid to obviously excite their fans that, oh, Arsenal maybe wanted a centre forward, but in Ollie Watkins they believed in that they couldn't obviously get him, so they are waiting for the summer. That's why I see to it that they are also interested in Benjamin Sesko and the deal is for the summer. So I think unless otherwise Arsenal goes in to make a bid for another striker or they get in Ollie Watkins, I won't be convinced that their intent to make a bid for Ollie Watkins was to sign him, if at all they don't sign a striker before the Monday transfer window. But all in all, we see to it that they are really putting in, and I'm not really convinced that they are all in for this. And the only thing that shows they are all in for this will be if Arsenal goes ahead to really see themselves go in for another striker, if at all Ollie Watkins is denied permission permission to leave by Aston Villa. You understand? Why? Matthias Cunha is at £60 million and Wolverhampton Wanderers are willing to sell the player for that price. You understand? So, even that money, I think if at all they throw it at Sporting Lisbon might feel shaken because that is like 70 million euros, you know? Yet they want, is it 85 million euros? That's his buyout clause. You understand? So, even the second bid they're planning to obviously get in, if Aston Villa says no, there are very many other clubs that have players that Arsenal have gone ahead to point at, and they will be willing to obviously let them go. So, I'm here waiting to see how things are really going to pan out, but looks like Aston Villa is not willing to sell the player because they've already lost John Duran to Al Nassr, and Fabrizio Romano told us that Aston Villa are determined to reject a new approach from Arsenal for Ollie Watkins. Unai Emery wants Ollie Watkins to stay, and Villa didn't like amount of the first bid, £60 million. Also timing of the leaks ahead of the UEFA Champions League game. Aston Villa are focused on John Duran to be sold to Al Nassr. So, this is what I'm obviously insinuating about this. That if Arsenal are really wanting a centre forward, the right centre forward would have gone ahead to be John Duran, because around that amount of, I think they've gone ahead to pay close, is it 77, like £63 million, you know, that's what Al Nassr has gone ahead to pay, and hijacking the deal would have gone ahead obviously make some huge sense to say to each other obviously getting this player, but they might be wanting Ollie Watkins in particular, but you ask yourself, what has taken them this long to make this bid? That's why I tell you, I'll only say Arsenal were serious to land in a centre forward if at all they bring in one. If the deal of Ollie Watkins fails and they go for another, or if they really put their foot on the pedal and they tell Aston Villa that we want Ollie Watkins, that's when I'm going to give them their credit for getting in a centre forward, because they had the money, and after having the money, Arsenal didn't make a bid. If Arsenal made a bid for Ollie Watkins like a week earlier, I think they would have gone ahead obviously let Ollie Watkins go, and they would have gone ahead obviously they would have gone ahead to let John Duran stay. But remember, Fabrizio Romano on his YouTube channel at the start of this week, he told us that Arsenal had made inquiries on John Duran. You remember that very well. They had made inquiries on John Duran, and guess what? John Duran is now going to Al Nassr. You know, so Arsenal have all what it takes to hijack that deal, but they're not hijacking it, meaning that there is a story behind this story of Ollie Watkins, because the Arsenal board might be like, let's try to really trick these fans of Arsenal and see how they're really gonna react. And I tell you, the fans of Arsenal are really gonna be furious, you know. If Stanley Kroenke or Josh Kroenke ever comes to Emirates, when they've gone ahead to lose the trophy, they'll be like, you are the one responsible for us losing out on this trophy. I tell you. That's exactly what you're really having in through from the man himself, known as Fabrizio Romano and John Crossmira. Arsenal are still preparing a second bid. Fabrizio is telling us that Aston Villa were not impressed by the first bid, and we are waiting to see what they're really gonna do. But the moment Arsenal went there and put their bid, you know, if at all you flip the coin, because I'm this kind of person who wants to be objective, the moment Arsenal went there, it was an indication that there was a chance for Ollie Watkins to leave, and he wanted to go, because there is no way a team makes a bid for Ollie Watkins when they haven't gone ahead to agree personal terms, because what they have to first do is to talk to the player on whether he's willing to obviously cross from one side to the other. If the player is not willing, you won't hear a bid. If a player is willing, then that's when a bid is put in through, and that is the bid of Ollie Watkins, and Arsenal went ahead to put it there, and it got rejected. Second bid is coming in through anytime from now. All else, we might hear Arsenal go in for bidding for maybe a Matthias Cunha or someone else into the mix. Then Arteta came out and obviously poured a lot of praise to the youngster known as Nwaneri, and on his performance yesterday after scoring that beauty. Arteta said, "That's what we love about him. He's willing to take the initiative to make things happen. He's very aggressive when he's got the ball and so confident, because before that he had another action, a very similar one. He made the right choice." That is it. So we are being told that the player did something important, and I think it was really great that he did, because risking to go in for that shot was really very important for the club of Arsenal. And him as a player starting his first ever Champions League game and scoring in that game, that was really very important and impressive for him. And the manager says he's very aggressive when he's got the ball. Obviously, we also remember of that cross that he put in before even Arsenal went ahead to equalize, and he used his weak foot, the right foot, to find Trossard, but Trossard never really went ahead, obviously placed that ball well into the back of the net. So Nwaneri is really that kind of player who is really very impressive, and the manager said he went for it. He has the capacity to finish from every angle basically, and it was a very important goal for the club of Arsenal, because it's the goal that wins them the game. And for Nwaneri, we remember him telling us that we haven't seen even a tenth of him, meaning that he's still trying to really replicate what he did on training in these matches. And I think yesterday we saw a moment of brilliancy. And yesterday in my match reaction to the club to that game, I came up and really read you his stats this season, and they're really ridiculous for a 17-year-old, because he has gone ahead to score 3 goals in the Carabao Cup. He has 2 goals in the Premier League and 1 goal in the Champions League, and he has 6 goals this season. And I know if he keeps fit, he'll obviously see himself hitting the number of 13 goals as a player at Arsenal. And he might obviously try to bridge that gap, or to really bridge the void that was left there by Bukayo Saka. And if he really performs very well, then Arsenal won't obviously look out to sign in another left-footed attacker into that position when all goes on well for him as a player. Then on the finishing ability of Nwaneri, Arteta had the following to say: "It's very natural for him. You can see the way he takes the touches, how he beats people, and then the technique he's got. He's so precise in his finishing, but put him a lot of times in that situation, and the outcome will be good." You understand? Put him out in that situation and the results will be good, meaning that when he reaches those areas and he shoots, the manager believes that it's supposed to be a goal. And there is a shot that he really did, another color, was it the Premier League or the Carabao Cup, and it missed by a whisker. And I was like, I love this guy. And for everyone who's been watching in this channel, you know very much how I love Ollie Watkins. Sorry, I love Nwaneri. So guys, your thoughts on Arsenal preparing Ollie Watkins' second bid in the comment section below. I've gone ahead to see fans of Arsenal divided. Some are saying Arsenal shouldn't obviously pay that amount of money for a 29-year-old. Others are like, let's get in Ollie Watkins. Others are like, can we look out for someone else? I'm really waiting for your thoughts about this. Rokani David remains my name. I sign out for now. See you later, and please subscribe, and more is yet to come. Bye bye for now.